Uma, thank you so much for organizing this event and having me. And it was so inspiring. I wanted to share something that is more practical to me because it was like one of the key theme that has been common throughout my life is busyness. And that has kept me from being having control over my life. Like Ramya said, you had to live an intentional life. And I thought those all kept me out. And so I thought I'd share some of the tools that I used in from my what I call the sanity toolkit as part of this speech. As I mentioned, it may not be an inspirational personal story, but this really helped me be what I am and live an intentional life. So to go back to why I needed this is I think that, as I said, throughout my life, I had a theme of busyness, but it really got worse when I became initially a new manager, right? The meetings just increased. Then I became a program manager. The meetings exponentially increased. Then came COVID. Nobody remembers COVID, right? It went. I mean, the remote working was great, but what I realized is with 80 hours, I was working like almost nonstop, and with kids screaming in the next room, it was like literally taking away my sanity, right? I was not. I felt like at the end of the week, felt like a hamster who was just kept on running and running, and at the end of the week, I felt my to-do list just increased. I had not made a dent in any of those, right? And that's when I became very desperate that I needed some tools to get back to my life, to live like Ramya had pointed out, intentional life, whereas the theme has been to take control of my life. And some of the things is what I wanted to share with you is one of the things that really helped me was I started doing like a weekly goal. Now I'm a program manager, so I used an agile tool and Kanban. And the reason I loved that is because it allows me to limit the work in progress, right? I know there is only limited time I have. And so I had to be very intentional as to what I can put. And I started putting my personal goals. Now, when I say personal goals, it was work related. I would do something like automate a process or create a report. But those were my I want to do lists rather than I need to do lists, right? And I had to make sure that they were added to my daily schedule because if I don't, I know I'll procrastinate. I'll say, hey, I'll do it tomorrow, and it never gets done. And I don't have an expensive to-do planners. Calendar was my go-to app, but which was awesome because I had all my meetings up there and I knew where I could schedule it. But what this really helped when I was in the hamster phase of my life, I felt like I was constantly running and I felt frustrated at the end of the week because I felt like I have not achieved anything and the to-do list. This actually helped me to get a sense of achievement. Like just when I put the things into the done list, I felt, yes, I've done it. When I get my want to do stuff done rather than to do needed stuff done, I felt like a winner. Like I ended my weeks with feeling like a winner rather than a loser. Right. And that actually really helped me to get back to my life. So this was something which really helped me and I just wanted to share. The other thing that helped me was focus. Like currently I am doing certification, right? I don't know how many people have done PMP certification, but if you have ever done it, it's theoretical and it's dry. So it was very difficult for me to focus, right? I would rather go on social media and rather than work on this. The other phase is when it was the hamster phase of my life. It felt like even when I had some time, context switching was so much difficult, right? You would rather want to procrastinate. You would rather the emails seemed so much more important after, especially if you had a difficult meeting right before, that it was very difficult to actually work on certain things. So this is a very simple method that I adopted which basically say focus for a specific period and then take a break. It sounds simple, but the brain, it does something to your brain. When the brain knows that there's an end time, if it is 20 minutes or 40 minutes, and the brain knows that that's the only time you need to focus, it actually listens. You are able to take off the distractions for those time and focus. So I could actually do like one of the processes from 49 processes from PNP instead of going and going on social media, right? Or I could context switch and work on my project instead of checking on my email every few seconds. So These were the two things that really helped me, and just I wanted to share them with you. The other few things that really helped me to be more intentional is I decided to learn to say no. And that actually, I communicated changed because having a prioritized list of weekly items really helped. I want to also use another phrase from programming, program management, called eliminate waste from extreme programming. Basically, what I also had to do is to find time, I had to say no to things I don't need. If I'm not going to be in a meeting where I do not have any input and I can get everything from the meeting notes, but I do not need to go to Costco for one item, I can remove that from the schedule and make more time for myself, right? And lastly, I'll just end with automation also helped because having mundane stuff automated really helped. But the last thing that also helped me was one of my managers used to say, do not give me problems when I say no. Give me some few solutions that work for both of us, right? And one of them was delegation, right? That's one of the answers that I could do. And sometimes it's a combination, right? I had to do the initial leg work, get the plan in place, get everything done, and then I could hand it off to somebody else, right? But it was a win-win situation for both of us. So all the small things really helped me a lot. And I just wanted to share it with everyone. And I would actually love to know what works for you guys, what has worked for you and learn from you. The only thing, if you are in a busy phase, and I could hear Ash saying that she's been really busy, I would just say be kind to yourself, be flexible. There's always the next day that you can do, and would love to hear your stories.